Question in the morning. How do you get BYU on track? How do you get them going? This team was 16-1. Now they are 4-7 in the last 11 games. And you can say it's Saunders. They're actually 2-2 without Saunders. So there's clearly other issues. There were issues while he was there. What's gone wrong? What has to change? Listen, everybody here is making a lot of money. Well, maybe not everybody. I don't know about the players at the end of the bench. But they've added a bunch of staff. Obviously, the head coach is getting a lot of money, and the star player is getting a lot of money, and there's huge investment into the season, and it can't be what it was, but it's got to be better than what it is. And so you got to, whether that's another 10 or 20 or 50%, you got to get out of the season whatever you can. If the original goals are gone, which they are, so be it. There are clearly some events that are just out of anybody's control that are bad luck. But should they be 4-7 in the last 11? Seems a bit much. So what is the deal? And I don't know if people are poorly informed or if they're just trying to be funny when they're not. But John says, well, the problem is zero depth. Max Hall is having a great season at Virginia. Really? Max Hall? We had to do that? Dallin Hall is having a really good year at Virginia. Virginia's a really good team. He's playing 28.2 minutes a game, leading the team in minutes. He's shooting it about the same clip as he did at BYU, maybe a little better from 2 and a little worse from 3. His free throws have improved noticeably. He was never a very good free throw shooter. Never shot 70%, 62, 63, 67, and now he's shooting 76. But his assist turnovers, he's a senior. He's a fourth-year guy. He's played big minutes. He's playing half the game, 20 minutes a game, and starting more than half the games as a freshman. So he's experienced. He handles the ball. His assist turnover ratio is better than 3-1. And that's why he gets to play. And Virginia's good. They're ranked. We'll see how many games they can win in the tournament, but not a stretch to think they could be a Sweet 16 team. We'll see what kind of seeding and draw they get, and then things still have to break your way. But wouldn't surprise me. It would surprise me if they're in the Elite Eight. That would be something. Maybe it'll happen. Who knows? It's not like I've ever picked all Elite Eight, right? Never, ever have I gone 8 for 8 picking the Elite Eight. Certainly, he's a guy they miss. I mean, there's no doubt about that. There's a couple big guys playing at Clemson who have local ties, who they also really miss. But there are other opinions out there, some of them fairly harsh. Joseph, what's gone wrong? What has to change? They suck. That's why. Go Gators. Thank you, Joseph. The Florida Gators have spoken. And then there's this one from Aaron. It's simple. They have 6 guys out due to injuries. 5 of them supposed to be significant contributors. You're always complaining that KY should develop the bench. Well, this was the bench, and they're not available. KY said he's never had a team where this many guys were gone for the whole season. Show me another top 25 team that has 6 guys out for the season. I think what Kevin Young has done is great under the circumstances he has been dealt. The 6 guys who are out, well, 2 of them would be playing big minutes to be sure. I mean, Richie Saunders and Dawson Baker, major contributors. Without question. And those are major setbacks. When I said earlier in the segment, there's stuff you can't control, and the goals have to be reset. It's because of losing those 2. Now, the other 4 guys, interesting. What to make of them? How much would they have contributed? Were they hits? Were they misses? To what degree would they have been hits? Would they have been good as 10 or 12-minute players off the bench? Could they have stepped in and played 20 or 25 as starters if pressed into service, if need be, either because of injury or because other guys aren't performing? Man, an open question. Maybe one that'll get answered next year, or maybe they'll grow up in a year, so even that isn't a fair gauge. Maybe it just gets filed under we'll never know. One I've been intrigued about since they landed him was KJ Perry. The number 1 JUCO recruit, which doesn't mean what it used to mean. And I have seen JUCO players come in and save coaches' jobs and launch programs. And I've seen JUCO guys come in, and, man, they were swimming upstream in the Amazon. They had no chance. Some of those guys didn't pan out. The games just didn't translate. They didn't get to have the ball as much. They were suddenly playing with 6'10" and 7-footers on the floor, and they really didn't see that in JUCO, and their game was around the hoop. I don't know. I've never seen KJ Perry play in a 4-year environment. I don't have any idea. I could go watch the clips from his JUCO stuff. But until we see that, there's no way of knowing. Hopefully we will. Hopefully it doesn't be some one and done transfer. We get to see what he's got. because there's the full range. And I've seen plenty of JC players who were struggled and were kind of mediocre as a junior as they adapted, and then they've really, really been good and really been helpful as a senior. So sometimes there's a one-year adjustment, partly them growing up, partly them just getting used to, a slightly different game with more talented players and more size on the floor. So KJ Perry is an intriguing loss. Another one, and PK's talked about this, is Brody Kozlowski. Now, we saw him play at Corner Canyon. He can shoot it, as PK has said a million times. Going to games. His wife was teaching there at that point, and go to games and know some of the other players on the team and know some of the people at the school. So you go to more than a handful of games. He can shoot it. So how much would Brody, and he's had a couple years to kind of adapt and be, useful. I mean, but he hasn't really had this year develop because he got hurt so early on. So what would he do? Another guy. Haven't seen him play, don't know how he'd adapt. Could have grown into a role. It's a big old coulda, woulda, shoulda. Could be exactly what you need when you have Rob Wright penetrating and he's got to throw it out to the corner for a shooter. And that is the role Brody's brought in to do. And then there's Xavier Staten, also a freshman, and he played a little bit, but mostly in a mop-up role. I don't know, when he's playing in a 47-point win, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how he would have handled the Big 12. So Nate Pickens, KJ Perry, Brody Kozlowski, Xavier Staten, just all big question marks. And maybe they could have gotten something out of some of those guys, and maybe a couple other guys wouldn't have added anything, but they're gone. So that is part of what has gone wrong. And what has to change? More heart, more energy, more determination, and a little something from role players. This West Virginia game looks winnable. Their ability to beat both these teams, that's in question. West Virginia and Cincinnati on the road. They got to be competitive in both, and they got to win at least one of them. And then come home and beat Texas Tech at home and finish with a winning record. I mean, to finish 500 in league, that would be a huge come down. So it's there's this long list. We always talk about this long list of checklists, and there are all these boxes to check, right? And you've got national championship, Final Four, college football teams always want to go undefeated. Then you get in a conference, you want to go undefeated there. And so there's still a couple boxes for BYU to check. Get to the tournament, win a game, get to the Sweet 16. But one of the boxes to check, have a winning record in the Big 12. And they sit here at 8-7 with 3 games to go. Maybe they get to 10. I'd be surprised if they got to 11. Maybe they get to 10. Maybe they finish 9-9. I mean, losing 3 in a row would be brutal. I don't think they would do that. I think they'll pull off at least one of these, but really be good if they could get 2. West Virginia on the road Saturday afternoon, Big Fox, 3:30. What has gone wrong with BYU and what has to change? You can hit us up. Tweet at us, David DJ James. Go to Facebook, DJ and PK. David says it's effort, it's drive, it's will. I doubt they can or will be fixed. This team has no heart on the whole. David, I get why you would say that. And by the way, his avatar is a BYU football helmet. But I think you got a little of the blue glasses on. Because when you say no heart, really? They didn't show heart against Iowa State? I mean, that's part of what makes this last game so frustrating is you just saw it in literally the game before that. They had it against Iowa State. They didn't have it against UCF. A little player leadership here. Calling teammates out. I mean, the coach has probably been yelling all year because that's what coaches tend to do, especially when you got 14 of them. Somebody's the designated bad cop and is yelling. But maybe it'll land different. It comes from a player because there was no will in the last game. But you got to find something. And I think they will. I mean, Colorado, their coach, Boyle was put his guys on blast after just a terrible loss. And they came to Provo, they played a lot better, and they took the game to overtime. I don't think Colorado, even with BYU shorthanded, Colorado didn't anywhere near the talent. Now, that was the game Saunders got hurt in, and maybe that upsets guys emotionally because people have an idea what's going on. Certainly had an idea what's going on by halftime. But Colorado, that was much better. You embarrass yourself, you tend not to want to embarrass yourself again. You tend to mind the P's and Q's, cross T's, dot I's the next time out. So I'm expecting to see a lot more energy and a lot more heart at West Virginia. And if that leads to a win, then the question again is, can they do it again against Cincinnati? Because they've only got back-to-back wins once now since mid-January, early January, which seems unreal considering they were 16-1 and flying when they beat TCU on January 14th. But since then, Back-to-back wins one time, Baylor and Colorado, and then they did OT against Colorado at home.